guys, I am Pixel Dan. Oh, look at this. This, my friends, is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade 1-up machine. And I couldn't just not talk about this thing. Look, I don't really talk about video games a lot on this channel. I love video games. I love retro video games, but I am by no means somebody who feels like they're in a position to do full-on video game reviews. I leave that up to a lot of my friends who I enjoy watching. But I do talk a lot about Ninja Turtles on this channel because I'm a huge fan. And man, I just got a hold of this. I posted some pictures of it on social media, and so many of you asked me to do a video on it. And you know what? I couldn't just not do something. So consider this a huge Ninja Turtles fan, a huge Ninja Turtles toy collector, just gushing about the TMNT Arcade 1-up machine. It's really, really amazing. So let's talk about the building process with this. If you've never picked up one of these Arcade 1-up machines before, they do come in a large box, and you have to fully assemble the entire unit, but it's not really that difficult. There is an included sheet of instructions that perfectly guides you through the process. All of the pieces of wood are labeled with letters, and really you just got to be able to screw them all together. Like Phillips head screwdriver, you can put the whole thing together. I did this as a two-man job. Me and my wife both worked on it, and together I would say we took somewhere around the 40-minute mark, maybe a full hour just for everything. But your time will probably vary, especially if you're doing it by yourself. It can totally be done by yourself, but having somebody help you with it definitely helps speed the process along a little bit. There are a few things I want to note while talking about the building process. This particular set, the Turtles one, comes with the little booster for the bottom that boosts it up so that you can stand to play the arcade machine. And it's got its own set of screws and everything. However, when I got them all out, the screws that come with that are labeled the same. They have like the letter B on the bag as the screws that are for the machine, but the screw sizes are different. And the instructions don't do a good job of distinguishing those. So make sure you use the larger screws while putting together the machine itself. You'll notice it once you start along the way and realize you're using the wrong screws, but it is a little confusing at first. The other thing is when I was putting the screen up, actually you assemble the whole thing and then the screen itself has like a film on there, a protective film that you have to take off. It is incredibly hard to get off. There's like no peel point. My wife really had to do a lot of digging with her fingernails to like get it started, and then we finally got it ripped off. It's really frustrating, and you got to be careful because you don't want to scratch anything up, so be careful with that. And the last thing I want to talk about is I got the entire thing fully assembled, I plugged it in, I flipped the switch, and it didn't turn on. So then I had to unscrew the few screws on the back board, and I pulled that off, and I looked, and there's a little flip switch on the back of the monitor that I had to turn. I had to flip it on. I don't think the instructions told me to do that, or I overlooked it. I didn't know. But once I did that, and then I tested it, it worked fine, and I screwed the back on. So just be careful with some of those little things. Could be a little annoying while you're getting it put together. But when you're all said and done, it's a beautiful machine. If you're not familiar with the 1-up arcade machines, they are smaller than an actual arcade unit. This unit stands just under 4 feet tall without the booster. But like I said, this particular set comes with the booster, which boosts it up about an extra foot. So it's just shy of 5 feet tall. So it's still not quite as tall as an actual arcade, but that makes it so that adults can stand at the machine and play it. If you don't want to use the booster, it's actually super comfortable to pull a chair up to it and play that way. I have one of the other arcade 1-up machines, which is the Rampage machine, and it doesn't have a booster, and I've always just pulled a chair up to it to play it. It works fine. But I do really like the booster on this one, especially since it's decorated to match the arcade cabinet. So it's pretty cool that it comes with it. And let's talk about the arcade cabinet itself. When I was a kid, I was always mesmerized by this particular cabinet. I remember going with my mom to the bowling alley because she had a weekly bowling league. So all through the summer, I would have to go to the bowling alley with her, and they had this machine. And I used to not only just play the game, but I stared at the artwork on this thing. The artwork on the marquee, the artwork on the side of the machine there. It's an amazing combination of like these hand-drawn, animated-looking turtles with live-action actors for April O'Neil and Shredder. And Shredder's wearing like the most awful cosplay imaginable for Shredder. I don't know, it's amazing. And one of the best things about this is just having that in my home. Like, I love the artwork on this cabinet, and I love having it in my house. It looks amazing. It's so cool that they totally recreated the original machine into this smaller format here. I believe this is also their first 4-player machine. So you can see it does have a much bigger board up here on the top. It does have all 4 joysticks. Mikey's joystick is yellow, but that was kind of like how it was on the arcade machine too, instead of orange. But they're all color-coded for the turtles. So each joystick is for each of the turtles there. Again, it looks just like the actual arcade machine, so it's very, very cool. There's no light-up marquee on these. It just has a regular wood marquee up here that just has the image printed on it. It would be cool if it lit up, but all in all, I love the look of this thing. So very, very cool looking. I got to figure out where exactly I'm going to display it in my house because I can't leave it right here in my studio as much as I want to. I don't know, maybe I can rearrange some things to put it in the corner, but we'll see. We'll have to see how it goes. So the game itself, how does this work? So the cool thing is this includes 2 games, the original TMNT Arcade game and TMNT Turtles in Time. So like 2 of like the best arcade games are right there in this machine. And you can just choose them right from the menu. So you got an on-off switch there, right on the top. And when you flip that on, I'll go ahead and do it right here so you guys can see it. It'll load up at first. You'll get the arcade 1-up kind of loading screens here at the very beginning. Boom, just like that. And then once that gets all loaded up, you'll have a screen that lets you choose between the 2 games. And it's a really bright LED screen too. I mean, the colors on this thing are really amazing. I don't know if they come through on camera, but in person, they're just fantastic looking. So the blue joystick is what you use. It's Leonardo's joystick, and you can just choose right there between Ninja Turtles and Turtles in Time. And when you want to pick it, you just hit the button and it loads up the ROM for the game. There's also a volume button on here, which I really like because you can see it's got a proper volume control. On my Rampage machine, there's like 2 settings for volume, loud and way too loud. There's no in between. So I was really happy to see that this has a more proper volume control. And the thing does get really loud. So you could crank it if you really want to hear everything, or you can turn it down, or just totally get rid of the sound if you want to play quietly. But you can see it looks great. It's bright, it's vibrant, it plays really well. You just hit the start button for any of them to like make it like you're loading in coins. Obviously, it doesn't take real coins. You can give yourself as many lives as you want to. And the game plays fantastic. The controls feel good. It feels nice and fluid to me. The buttons work great. I have no problems with my machine right here. So mine is working really great. And again, I'm not like an arcade aficionado, so I'm sure there are intricacies that are different from this in an actual arcade machine. But for what this is, I think this is so much fun.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. Cowabunga! Fire! Hang on, April. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
The audio is great. I love the opening screen here on Turtles Arcade game. I really love the opening screen on Turtles in Time. I totally forgot that they used the Pizza Power song, which is from the Coming Out of Their Shells tour, as the theme song for that game. And it sounds so great.
Pizza power! With comedians lives and their tadpoles, it hardly enters your mind that there's something better than this. A better sleep and a carrot, maybe a seed from a parrot. Believe me when I tell you the word tornadoes don't exist. But pizza power, applying sauces to delight. Pizza power, oh that's what makes us feel alright. Let's kick shell!
This is April O'Neil reporting.
Hey, Krang! Bring that statue back, you bloated beanbag!
All of the audio sounds great on these games. The animation looks good. You know, great ROMs. I haven't had any problems with the ROMs or anything yet. It is so much fun to sit here and play these games in my house. It's awesome. So the overall size, I know one of the big questions is, how does this work with adults? Because this is a really small machine, and there's 4 controllers. So I played all the way through Turtles Arcade last night with my wife, my 5-year-old son, and his friend, who's about the same height and size as him. And we were really cramped around the machine. So it was really tight with 2 adults and 2 kids. 4 adults are really going to be crammed in there. 2 adults, it's actually very comfortable. So keep that in mind. I mean, you can do 4 players. It is going to be tight quarters there, but it's still pretty rad just playing a 4-player arcade game right there in your house. Price point on this is $399.99. It is expensive, but it is an affordable way to get these games in your house officially. You know, I've played Turtles in Time a lot, but mostly the Super Nintendo version. The arcade version is a different game. There are different bosses and it's organized a little bit different. And getting that officially in my home is really cool. So that was one of the reasons that this was a must-buy for me as a huge Ninja Turtles fan. As soon as they announced it, I was saving for it. I knew I was going to spring for it. So I know it's an expensive item. I don't know how hard they're going to be to find. Right now, they're only sold at Walmart stores. I got mine at Walmart online, bought it, and it was here in a couple days. They shipped it so fast. So there you go, guys. I just wanted to take some time to show off my TMNT Arcade 1-Up machine. I love it. I'm so happy that I've got it. And hey, are any of you guys planning to pick this up, or have you picked it up? Tell me all about it. Let me know if it's great, if you love it. Maybe you're having problems with yours. Let's discuss it in the comments. And guys, it's pizza time. I'm going to play some video games. Excuse me for a minute. Fire! We got to save April! Man, this feels so good.